Hello everyone and welcome back to another single button build. Today we're going to talk about the Blood Death Knight. I have made a build that I believe is really great for a single button build as a Blood Death Knight. It has very focused on, the entire DPS rotation is focused inside that button. Every spell is inside that button, as you can see here. All the DPS spells are in there, so you don't have to worry about any of these spells. It's a great build if you want to, let's take the case you have a friend who don't want to play their tank because he might think it's too stressful or something like that. Give him this build, send it to him and say, hey, I don't want to have a 5-hour queue time every evening getting a group. You're going to play this build now. We're going to have a great time and we're going to have instant groups all the time. Like, this is a great tank build for just casual people. I would recommend this for normal dungeon, leveling, heroic dungeon, time walking. You can even use it in looking for raid. And honestly, I don't see a problem using this build as well in mythic dungeons, because the person who plays this build just have to spam one while he does the damage and automatically hold aggro. You're gonna hold aggro. You have 3 taunts basically getting your mobs back to you. You have all these cool utilities who's gonna help you not dying. So it's a great build. It's really great for people who maybe not so good at like mythic dungeons. We're not talking about plus 12 keys. For all the people who goes in and say, oh, you can't use this in plus 15 key, go away. We don't need you. This is for like the casuals like me who wants to play like a Mythic Zero, normal dungeon, heroic dungeon. It's a great one to also learn the mechanics of different dungeons, because you don't have to look on your key bindings all the time. You can basically just play the game while you're looking. Like, you just press one, you look at the mechanics. You can very easily call out mechanics to people on Discord, stuff like that. Before we go into the video, we have the agenda up here. We basically have the intro first, which is what we just finished now. We have the stats, we have the talents, we have the rotation, and we have the gameplay. We're gonna jump to the stats now, but just in case you want the same talents as me and you want this cool UI I have created, you can go to my Discord. There will be a room called Blood DK Export or something like that. It's actually called Blood... It's called, Blood DK, just Blood DK. And then in there will be an export string for the UI and an export string for the talent. But let's get to the video. So regarding stats, the first major stat is strength. You might say, okay, we know we need that. We know we need that as a Death Knight. But what do you mean about that? Well, basically what I mean is you always should try to get the highest eye level. If you have a helmet with 681 eye level, you have a helmet with 685 eye level, it has 4 eye level higher. And which one should you take? My recommendation would be always trying to take the highest one. It has more stamina, it has more strength, which means it's just generally going to give you more overall increase in everything. Of course, some people would say, no, you should take the one that has haste, because haste is the most important for you in this build here. But I would say go with the highest eye level. And then, of course, when you have 2 items that has the same eye level, then take the one that has haste instead of the one that has mastery, and so on, so on, so on. So try to always take the highest eye level, would be my recommendation. Next off, we have haste, most important secondary stat for single button build, the single button build we have today. Faster rune regeneration, more hard strike, more death strike spam, and smoother sustain. Also multiplies with Sand Lion. So basically, the build we're using right now, the Sand Lion spec, with Sand Lion's essence of Blood Queen, which makes it even stronger. So very good. Haste is just all good for especially this single button build as a Blood Death Knight. So yeah, that's just how it is. Next one, we have versatility. Versatility is basically giving you more damage, more healing, and damage reduction. So it both gives you more damage, it gives you more healing, it gives you more damage reduction. What's not to like there? It's just like Omega nice. But haste is of course still better because it makes the entire rotation better. Versatility is the next best one because it just all increases everything like very nicely. Next off, we have crit, which is quite cool because when you do crits with Death Strike, it actually also makes your healing crit, to my understanding. So it's kind of like a nice talent, like nice stats to have, and so on. Mastery is also very nice. Actually, all of them is very nice. Mastery is very nice since Mastery basically gives you like it gives you here. Mastery is basically each time you heal yourself with Death Strike, you gain 43% of the amount healed as a physical damage absorption shield. Also increase your attack power. So basically, every time you use Death Strike, you get a shield, which usually, I've seen a lot of builds where Mastery is usually the number one stat they always want. Like that's like the most important one for Blood Death Knights, which is probably true. Yeah, it's all good. But for this specifically, I would say talent build we're using for today, I would say haste is more importantly than mastery in this case here, because this build again is about casualty and so on and so on. So yeah. But yeah, that's basically the stats. All right, let's talk about talents. So talents, I just want to say one thing. So basically, when we talk about talents as a Blood Death Knight in this Sunline spec, it's really hard to go wrong. A lot of these things in here is all good. Like there's so many good things in here. So I would say like it doesn't really matter too much about what I have picked here. I would still say it's still a mix of like what the meta is using. Most of the things in here, but then I have like switched around a couple of things to make really the most out of the single button build. So for example, if we start with it, is that I have passively taken, so we have 5% of leech. So you can see here, if I open up my character here, I don't know why it keeps spinning, there we go. So you can see here I have 5% leech, which is returning a portion of your damage and healing as healing to you. So whenever you deal damage, whenever you do healing to someone else, we don't do much healing to other people, but when you did healing to others and damage to others, then basically you return a portion back of that. What I have done to get those talents is I have taken this one here, Bloodsend, instead of, for example, Blinding Sheet, which I know is a nice one to like, if you like against 3 mobs and they all are about to cast something big, you can use Blinding Sheet to basically interrupt them all. But since we mostly with this build here anyway gonna do normal content, heroic content, looking for raid, I feel like, you know, the leech one was more fun to have because it gives you like quite nice passive self-healing. But this only gives 3%, where this one over here, Vampiric Aura inside your hero talent tree, is giving you 2% more. And whenever you activate Lichborn, which is the spell down here, Lichborn, then it gives you the double, which is basically 4%, but it also gives it to everyone around you, 12 yards around you, and they're also going to have like this 2%, 4% leech, which is quite nice. Then everyone around you is going to heal themselves, which is nice for the healer. So that's the main thing first. Then we have the one called Osori, which is a nice one. So while you have at least 5 Bone Shield charges, the cost of Death Strike is reduced by 5 Runic Powers, which basically means your Death Strike is going to go from costing 40 Runic Power to 35, which allows you to cast it even more in case of bigger self-healing need. Next off is Shattering Bone. It kind of goes in together with this one as well. Basically, when you use the spell called Marrow Rend, you get a bone shield around you. So when you use a Marrow Rend, you get, well, actually 3 charges of bone shield. Every time with Shattering Bone, every time one of these bone shield, they get consumed, you know, when they are finished absorbing damage, they disappear. But with Shattering Bone, they explode instead, and it deals 8,000 damage. But if you're standing inside your Death and Decay, it does triple damage. So that's pretty cool. It basically means that every time you just use the single button rotation to get automatically shields, they also explode and deal even more AoE damage. We also have Bone Storm, which is also inside the single button rotation. I did not expect this one to actually be inside the single button rotation, but it is. All the active abilities we have in combat, like for example, Consumption, is also inside the single button rotation. I did not expect this, but they have it, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Beside of that, we also have the one here called, I don't know how to say this, Coagulopathy. But basically, enemies affected by Blood Plague take 5% increased damage from your Death Strike, but increase the damage from you. They need to put in like a dot to basically end it, because I keep reading this one wrong. But yeah, basically everyone applied with Blood Plague, which is your dot, your damage your time spell. But Death Strike increased the damage of your Blood Plague by 25% for 12 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So they basically, every time you use Death Strike, it increased the damage of Blood Plague by 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, which is pretty cool again. And all this is still inside a single button rotation. So personally, I would say that's pretty cool. Next up, we have Bloodshot, While Blood Shield is active, you deal 25% increased physical damage. That basically means Blood Shield is the shield from your mastery, the shield when you use Death Strike. So when you use Death Strike, you get Blood Shield, and then when you have Blood Shield on you, you deal 25 increased physical damage, which I would say is pretty neat. Pretty cool. Next one, we only have 2 more talents I want to talk about. Rest is like standard stuff. But we also have Red First. So Red First here, reduce the cooldown of your Vampiric Blood by 2 seconds per 10 runic power spent. So basically we have a spell cooldown here called Vampiric Blood, which is increasing your maximum health by 30 and increase all healing and absorb received by 30%. Really cool cooldown. Very nice. Like if you're going to take a lot of damage, this one is like nice or something like that. But with this talent now then every time you use basically Death Strike, which is the main one we're going to spend our runic power on because it costs 40, you can already see now it reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds per 10 runic power. Basically means when we use Death Strike, which costs 40, it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8. Do you see this? So that's 8 seconds of reduction in the cooldown just by using a Death Strike. And then if you use, like, imagine you use 3 Death Strikes in a row, that's 8 seconds, 16, I mean, and it just goes up, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Pretty cool. So yeah. And then, of course, we have the hero transfer in the middle here, which is called Sand Line. Basically, what it does is it sometimes, like your Death Call and Death Strike, have 35% chance to make your next Heart Strike become a Vampiric Strike. So basically, your normal main filler, which is the Heart Strike, has a chance from Death Strike to be converted into a Vampiric Strike. And Vampiric Strike heals you for 1% of your maximum health and grants you Essence of the Blood Queen, increasing your haste by 1% up to 7% for 25 seconds. The last one here is also while Dancing Rune Weapon is active, you gain Gift of the Sand Line. Gift of Sand Line is increasing the effectiveness of your Essence of Blood Queen by 200%, and the Vampiric Strike replaces your Heart Strike for the duration. So overall, great build. You don't have to think about it. No active spells we need to use. It's just like a passive thing that goes on in the background while using your cooldown. If you went over with this build here instead of Deathbringer, you would get another dispel which you have had to use and think about, where this one here is just like passive, healing passive. So that's why I think it's a great build. But overall, yeah, this is the build I would recommend for the single bottom build. And again, it's not for the pro players out there who pushes to plus 18 keys and stuff like that. It's for us who likes to do normal dungeon with friends, heroic, time walking, even mythic 0, 1, 2 keys, like, you know, and even like a normal raid. I could easily play this in a normal raid with my guild. There would be no issues at all, because you still have all the utilities you need to use here, which is the one making sure you don't die. But the rotation is so simple. But yeah, let's get to the next step, which you can see is the rotation. So rotation-wise, this spec is so easy. Like, it is so controller friendly. Like, it is so goddamn controller friendly if you play this game on controller, or if you have this ability and you only have like a limited keyboard that can press for a few buttons for you. It's excellent. Like, I really like this build as something for people to learn the game, to like learn mechanics in dungeons. Because usually if you have, like, let's say you have a rotation for 10 spells, you have to keep track on your rotation with these 10 spells, and you also have to keep track of the mechanics in a dungeon, which can be really hard to do. And I admit that it's really hard sometimes to follow a perfect rotation while also seeing on the floor where you have to stand. With this build, you can follow the rotation by pressing 1, and you gotta make sure that you hold aggro on all the mobs. You're gonna damage whatever you need, and you're gonna, you're gonna be doing what the tank is supposed to do: hold aggro, do damage, and self heal. It does all that in one button. It's really perfect for like Blood Death Knight, this button. So basically what happens is you can see you have this mob here, and you have your single button build here. Usually if you're like far away, it recommends using like spells like Death Chaos or Death and Decay. Like, really depends on like how far away they are. But you basically just press 1 now. You can see just pressing 1, and it will automatically start using my entire rotation here, as you can see. And it just like uses my cooldowns, it uses my Vampiric Strikes to self-heal, even consumption. You know, it does everything it's supposed to do. And again, it's using this entire flow here. Blood Boil for AoE, Bone Storm for AoE, Consumption for semi-AoE, Dancing Rune Weapon for copying all your spells, Death and Decay to holding everyone together, Death Strike to self-heal and shield, Death Cast for like if you're far away from the mob, then it will use that to pull them, Marin to give you Bone Shield, Soul Reaper for it's kind of like an execution spell like warriors have, and Vampiric Strike whenever it gets converted from Heart Strike. But again, really simple. Every time you lose aggro on a mob, you have two options to either switch to the other mob and press 2 for Dark Command, basically getting the aggro back from that one. You can even use your this is the cool thing with Blood Death Knight. You basically have 3 taunts because Death Grip also forcing enemy to attack you. So if anyone let's say you have a mob that goes far away, you basically just press 2 on it. If that's not enough, there's another one. You press T on that, 3 on that one. Basically Death Grip, and it will also taunt that one. So we have 3 taunts, which is insane. If the mob you're attacking is about to cast a very powerful spell, you can use number 4, which is Mind Freeze. It's basically interrupt them and preventing them from being casting that skull for 3 seconds. And it has a 15-second cooldown. So if your DPS forgetting to what is it called, interrupt, or the healer or something like else, you have interrupt as well, where you can interrupt it and then it stop casting. It can save you sometimes. On 5, we have Anti-Magic Shield, which is a great shield. Basically, it absorbs up to 600,000 magic damage, and you are immune to harmful magic effects. So basically, no magic effects can do anything with you as long as the shield is up. On 6, we have Death Advance, which basically increases your speed. Very, very nice spell, but yeah, it increases your speed and makes sure that you cannot go below 100% of your normal speed. So if there was a boss that made everyone very slow, it wouldn't affect you. You would just walk normal speed, which is pretty cool. Then we have Lichborn, which is a cool cooldown, which you should remember to be using. So basically, it draws upon holy energy to become undead for 12 seconds, increasing leech by 6%. And if you remember, we already had 5% leech, which is insane. And also, if you remember, we had this talent here basically saying this will double increase if you're using Lichborn. So by using Lichborn, you get, what was it? You get 6% leech, you get 3% from this one, that's 9. Then you get 2% from this one here, that's 10, 11. But this one doubles, so that's 12, 13. So when I technically use Lichborn, I should be having, 13 leech, and then every time you do damage on using your spells, it basically heals you, I guess, 30% of the damage you're doing, which is insane, I would personally say. The cool thing is also it reduces damage you take by 15%, and it makes you immune to charm, fear, and sleep. So no one can charm you, you cannot fear you, and they cannot make you sleep. So it gives a lot of, it gives you a lot of energy, well, not energy, sorry, it gives you a lot of leech and reduces damage take. You can technically, because you can use Death Coil on damaging, or you can healing undeads with it as well. So technically, when you use Lichborn, you could use Death Coil on yourself to heal yourself, but it costs ruling power, and it costs 10 more than a hard Death Strike, and Death Strike is going to heal you for 30% of all damage taken in the last 5 seconds, or a minimum of 8.5 health, where Death Coil is just healing you straight up for 400k. So in some situations, if you are not able to attack with Death Strike because of the tank is far away or something like that, you could use Lichborn and spam Death Coil on yourself. I haven't added it down here because I don't think we're gonna need it in this simple rotation. It's I just want to tell you that it's there. Then we also have Vampiric Blood, which is basically, again, increasing your health by 30% and also increasing your healing and absorb received by 30%. The cool thing, again, about this one here is that when you actually use it and you're beginning to use your rune powers, the cooldown is going crazy down. So look at the cooldown right in second. Of course, it's not using Death Strike right now because it knows that we're not needing HP right now. But when it actually uses Death Strike, the cooldown goes a lot down. Which would be nice if it started using it, but of course it's not using. There we go. So we can see the cooldown there. It just lost 8 seconds. So if, for example, we took it down, Death Strike for itself here, we can see 44 seconds, 34 seconds, and of course I need more ruling power now. There we go, 22 seconds. So you can get the cooldown down very, very fast. One thing I maybe could recommend would be, I don't know how much it's needed, but you could technically put Death Strike down in case you need healing and the single button rotation is not agreeing with you. I think it's made so it automatically should think about using Death Strike when you get like down in HP. I hope so. It's made like that. But just in case if you want to like have a backup and like, oh, why are you not using Death Strike? Hello, come on. Then you could use it like down here on some of the spells like down there. So just make sure that it actually uses it. But yeah, I don't think we need to worry about too much. I think it will automatically use it in the right situations when needed. We also have anti-magic zone, which is basically a 3-minute cooldown, but for 8 seconds we take reduced damage, magic damage for 15%. So 15% reduced magic damage for everyone who stands inside it. Pretty cool. You also have Tombstone. I'm not really like a fan of it, but I can't avoid it because else we cannot get these two down here. So we have to have it. But basically, when you use Marrow Rend in your single target rotation, we can just use it here without. Then basically you get these bone shields, which we talked about. This spell here takes 5 of those bone shields, and then it basically gives you a big absorption shield on 500,000 damage, like 500,000, so 500k. So it's giving you a shield. It sacrifices 5 bone shields, and which is pretty cool. Like well, as it says here, power and absorb damage equal to 6% of your maximum health. That's nice. So 6% of your health. You also gain 6 runic power. For each charge consumed, you gain 6 runic power. So basically, if you used it, you also get a lot of runic power, so you could technically use Death Strike in that case. What I would like to notice actually is if I use it again, what I would like to know is that if it actually triggers this one here, Shattering Bone. So, you know, usually when you're using your charges of Bone Shield, they should explode because of this talent here called Shattering Bone. So what I want to test now is when I use this one here, does it actually explode 5 of the stacks? Let's find out. Okay, it actually dealt 85k damage to everyone around you, which is probably, I guess, fitting because it doesn't say that it actually deals damage, but that's nice. So we actually do know that it actually is working together with it, which is nice. Then we have Icebound Fortitude. I don't think I had any Icebound Fortitude. Did we have anything that boosted it as well? No, we didn't. So basically, Icebound Fortitude, the only thing it does is it gives you granting immunity to stun and effects. So basically, you cannot be stunned. If a boss is about to stun you, you cannot be stunned. You're like immune to stun. Also, it reduces all damage you take by 30%, which is nice. Because it's just like a big flat 30% reduced damage. So if you know the boss is about to throw a very big spell on you, use it, and it's going to be reduced by 30%, and the healer's going to love you. If you know it's a really tough spell, and you maybe gonna die from it, then use Icebound Fortitude together with Vampiric Blood, for example, because then you get both 30% increased health, you get 30% reduced damage, and you could even also combine it with Lichborn, which is also giving you a reduced damage by 15. So that would be 30, 45, and then also 30% health. So of course, all these 3 spells could be used together. You could even macro them, basically having a macro where you use them all at once. But I would recommend to try spread them out, you know, because else you're going to be, for the next 2 minutes, you're not going to have anything else you can use in case something happens. Beside of that, we do have Raise Dead. Great spell for doing damage. You know, it doesn't do too much damage, as you can see down here in the damage meter right now. Even my melee attacks right now still do more damage, but you can see down there, it still has like a claw. It still have done like 200 damage. So it's a fine spell. It doesn't do too much, but it's a fine. But yeah, so that's just one spell you usually use all the time together with your, let's say, going on a boss. Every time you go into a dungeon and it's boss time, I would just recommend just using this one here, and for 1 minute, it's just gonna like help you doing more damage. Very nice. Beside of that, we also have Raise Ally, which is super cool because basically when you use it on an ally, so if you are in a dungeon and one of your party members they die, you just use Raise Ally on them, and basically it brings them back from death. It does say here, that the target re-enter battle with 100% health and at least 20% mana. So if we look, because I think I had one here, this one here. Raise ally revives players at full health and grant you and your ally an absorb shield equal to 20% of maximum health. Because normally I'm pretty sure raise ally only gives you like 20 to 50% of like HP. Like, you know, it doesn't give you like full HP. But because of this one here, we actually do get 100% of rest. So that means the person you're resting is going to get got back on 100%, which is pretty cool. Last spell, a Chain of Ice. I mean, it's if I could unpick it, I would probably unpick it, but it's not like super needed. But basically, it just reduces the speed of the target by 70%. So if someone is chasing you and you don't want them to go to you, you could use it, and they run slow. But in case you want to just make sure that you can actually use your Death Strike when it's needed, you could also replace it with that one here, because, I mean, it's not that much needed. So yeah, that's going to be the rotation. So now, if we look at the agenda, we can see that we have talked about intro, stat, talent, and rotation. So now we're going to go to the gameplay video, which is basically me doing a dungeon. I'm just pressing 1, showing you how it works with the different utilities, talking, a lot of random thoughts in my head. And yeah, again, if you want a talent export, if you want a UI export, come to my Discord. There's a specific room for the talent and the UI. There we go. Enjoy the gameplay. So here we go. Let's test our dear build. So as you can see, I'm just currently just pressing the 1 button rotation, just pulling a lot of different stuff, keeping sure that it keep using all the debuffs. It actually already have used a blood plague on all of them. But yeah, so far just pressing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Pulls. I would say using, yeah, currently, so far I've just pressed 1, literally. So a lot of people, they're like scared of actually playing a tank. But I mean, look at me. I literally press 1. And again, if I did harder content with this spec here, I have all my possibilities, as you can see down here. We have Taunt, in case we have a mob that is somehow not having aggro on us. We can use Taunt. We can use Dick Rip. Remember, Death Knight tanks with this spec here has 3 taunts. So basically, if I wanted, we could, like, you know... Yeah. We could taunt a lot of different mobs. And we also have we also have Interrupt Mind Freeze, so in case, like, some of the mobs, they throw a spell they shouldn't recast, because, you know, it does a lot of damage. We can now always interrupt it. We also have our Magic Shell, which, I mean, it's a good spell. You shouldn't really save it, because it only has like a 40-second cooldown. So, should definitely just go ahead and use it. Of course, if you're gonna fight a boss, save it for whenever you know, like, they're gonna throw spells at you. This time I could feel like Deadpool actually had a bit hard time holding aggro, because they kept attacking the mobs I didn't attack. And the rotation didn't want to use the spells into all I wanted. But it's fine. Still works. That's why we got 3 taunts. It's all good. Now we got a boss fight. We should use some Raise Dead, because Raise Dead is increasing the damage, since it basically adds a golem that deals damage for us. We could use some anti-magic shell, and keep in mind, like, I mean, this one was of course very easy. But like, if you get into a situation where you're getting a lot of damage, you also have Lichborn, which is a great cooldown. We also have Vampiric Blood, which you actually shouldn't save too much, because we have a talent that reduces the cooldown of Vampiric Blood every time you use 10 of your runes. So that one shouldn't be hidden as well. And of course our good friend Icebound Fugitive, which just decreases all damage taken. Great spell as well. Great spell. We also of course have our anti-magic shell. That's the cool thing with this spec here. Like, you know, you have all these cooldowns up here. You also have your Tombstone, which is basically taking 5 of your blood bone shields and making it into like a shield. We have all these utilities that can like help you. But I mean, as you can see right now, we of course doing like the standard content. So it's not really needed right now. Of course, if you do like a heroic dungeon, even if you did a mythic dungeon, you of course need to use all your cooldowns. But of course, for the content we're doing right now, it's not really like super needed.
Well, what have we here?
So, standing inside my Death and DK to make sure that everything goes well. Don't stand in the AoE on the ground. That can still hurt, even though if you have aggro. Nice, nice, nice. Maybe we should like increase these so you can actually see everyone, like how much damage and healing everyone does. There we go. And let's get the golem out again to get some additional damage. Now we're just gonna press 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And the boss is dead. Did I remember to loot? I did. Ah, we're still in combat. So we can't do the mechanic. There we go. Have she pressed it up there? Oh, that one got aggro. Doesn't matter, we're just gonna go around. Pulling all of this. Using the bombs, then it should spawn a boss. Ah, jeez. We are in combat again. Oh, now it came. Guess someone was not in combat, it was just me. And again, I mean, it's really like an easy rotation. You basically just use your one button, you have your taunt, you have interrupt, you have a shield, you have a speed. It's kind of like, it really feels like playing another game, if you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't feel like playing standard WoW where you have to like go between your spells all the time. It's kind of like a, I don't know, like an adventure game or something like that, where you know your damage is just coming from one, but everything else is just about mechanics. I think this can make like bad tanks actually become good tanks, if you know what I mean. Someone who might not like tanking because it's too much. Let's say you're playing with a friend and he doesn't like to be a tank, then this spec would be great because it's gonna allow him to just basically play easily, chilled, being able to be your tank in your group, and he has all these big buttons here that basically is utilities that of course you need to learn to when you use it in what situation, but still. Oh, not through that door. Well, I mean, yeah, so the entire this dungeon here, I've just been pressing 1, 1, 1. And because of the talents we've gone through and all that, that explains why I'm doing so much AoE damage, why I would keep holding aggro. Yeah, just all good chill spec. And I'm doing this gameplay preview here at the end because of a request. A lot of people said, hey, can we also see this in action? Like, how do you actually run around and play this spec? And this is it. The healer builds I did had a bit more gameplay to it, but here you basically just press 1.
Soon I shall have the power I require. You dare question me?
So we're going to use our golem, we're going to spam was 1. We can use 5 of our bone shields on the thumbstone to get a big shield. Let's use our vampiric blood as well. Why not? And there we go. That was it. I hope you enjoyed this video. The rotation, talents, stats, everything, the gameplay preview. I know that wasn't much of the gameplay preview, but it was just to show you how simple it was. So if you have, again, if you have like a friend who's really like scared of trying this build, I mean, go ahead, give them this video. And if you need a friend for like tanking normal heroic dungeons, maybe even Mythic 0, this should be fine. And I think everyone would be very confident playing this pick because it's chill and fun. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.